It is August 2011, on the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia's far east. After a cool summer, the sleepy village of Tamalny wakes under the warmth of the August sun. It is fall, the warmest month of the year. The untamed wilderness surrounding the village has exploded in vibrant autumnal colours and is teeming with an abundant array of Russia's wild animals, making their way through the thick undergrowth of the mountainous forests and nearby rivers and lakes in search of food before the next harsh winter begins. Locals from the village have begun to venture out into this same wilderness, partaking in recreational activities such as hiking, hunting, camping and fishing. In Tamalny, 19-year-old Olga Moskalyova has recently graduated from music school with top marks and has begun training to become a psychologist, something she has dreamed of doing since she was a child. Her mother Tatiana and stepfather Igor are proud that their daughter, now a young woman, is taking the steps to make her dream a reality. They see a bright future ahead of her. Olga and her stepfather Igor have been going on camping and fishing trips in the wilderness surrounding their village for many years, and this fall they will go again, before the change of season. But it will be a trip that will tear their family apart. They decide that they will camp near a local river and take advantage of the peak of the salmon spawning season. They arrive and set up camp amongst the birch trees and soon begin to make their way down to the water. They traipse through the long grass lining the river and stand on the bank amongst the reeds, reeling in salmon and enjoying the warmth of the fall sun, and after catching their fill for the day, decide to return to their campsite. But as they make their way back to their tent, they realise they have left one of their fishing rods on the riverbank. They decide to turn around and make their way back to find it. They arrive back at the water and begin searching along the bank for it, but as they make their way through the thick reeds lining the river, they suddenly hear a light rustling in the tall grass behind them. They freeze. Fearing the worst, they look through the tall stems of grass surrounding them. Suddenly, they catch sight of the thick, unruly fur of a large brown bear as it slowly makes its way towards them. Adrenaline pumps through Igor's body. He begins to yell at the bear, trying to deter it, but the bear possesses no fear. Igor steps backwards, retreating further into the reeds. The bear moves in on him. It stretches out its massive paw and strikes Igor with immense force. He falls backwards into the water. It strikes him a second time. Olga, still frozen in the grass, watches in horror as the bear clenches its jaw around his neck, snaps it, and begins to stomp on his head mercilessly. Olga lets out a sob as she looks at her beloved stepfather, the man who raised her, now lying lifelessly in the reeds in front of her, a victim of the natural world. She hears more rustling in the grass. The bear's 3 cubs make their way over to meet their mother. Olga's heart races. She decides to make a run for it. She turns and sprints through the tall grass. The mother bear raises its head, diverting its attention from Igor to Olga. It takes off after her. Olga runs for her life, so hard that her lungs feel like they are going to burst. But she is no match for the Far Eastern species of brown bear that is chasing after her, whose astonishingly powerful forelegs allow it to reach speeds of up to 35 kilometers per hour. Olga doesn't stand a chance. Before she has even run 70 meters, the bear bites down on her leg and pulls her to the ground. Olga's face smashes against the damp earth. The bear toys with her, pushing her around like a rag doll. It bites down on her bleeding leg again and begins to tear chunks of flesh off it. Olga screams out in agony. Alone in the isolated wilderness, and knowing any attempt to fight off the bear is futile, she does the only thing she can. And while the bear tears at her flesh, she reaches inside her pocket, pulls out her mobile phone, and dials her mother's number. She waits, pain searing through her body, listening to the dial tone, hoping desperately that her mother will pick up. Tatiana answers. Olga screams through the phone, "Mum, the bear is eating me. Mum, it's such agony. Mum, help." Tatiana is taken off guard. She laughs, thinking Olga is joking. But then, she hears something in the background. She listens closely. She hears growling and chewing through the phone. Her stomach fills with dread. But before she can react, the call fails. Tatiana panics. She immediately calls Igor, but his phone rings out. Her next call would be to the authorities and nearby relatives, begging them to go and save her husband and daughter. She waits, alone and helpless in her apartment, and after some time her phone begins to ring again. She answers. Olga's voice on the end is now very weak. She gasps, "Mum, the bears are back. She came back and brought her 3 babies. They're eating me." Tatiana goes numb. She listens to her daughter's cries, unable to help her. But once again, the line goes dead. Tatiana waits in her apartment, feeling helpless, listening to the minutes ticking on the clock, hoping authorities will reach her daughter in time. When suddenly, her phone begins to ring again. Tatiana answers immediately. It is Olga, but she sounds different. The bears have moved on, leaving Olga for dead. Olga knows she is most likely on the verge of death and wants to say goodbye to her mother while she still can. Olga's voice is soft. "Mum, it's not hurting anymore. I don't feel the pain. Forgive me for everything. I love you so much." The call drops for the last time, and Tatiana will never hear her beloved daughter's voice ever again. Authorities arrive at the scene with Igor's brother Andrei half an hour later. They find the mother bear and her cubs still devouring Igor's body, and nearby they find Olga, horrifically mauled, lying lifelessly in the grass. 6 hunters are soon sent in to destroy the mother bear and her cubs, and a funeral is held for Olga and Igor. Tatiana weeps as she lays her beloved daughter and husband to rest. She returns to her home in Tamalny, where not a day goes by that she doesn't relive the horror of listening helplessly while her daughter lay dying, terrified and alone.